Ooh, we're having some people show up. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Go ahead and, well, first off, welcome. Welcome to this panel. Thank you so much for attending. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and do a few things as you're coming in. If you open up your chat, I've put a Dropbox transfer link there for you. It's a really simple project that I'll get into later in the presentation. You don't need to like open it right now, but save it as a note on your computer or something like that so you can just reference it later. I've built some stuff in there for you to practice with afterwards based on what I show in this presentation. And then also keep in mind with the chat, make sure it's turned to all panelists and attendees. So that way, if you are chatting, we can all see it. And go ahead and let us know where you're signing in from, where in the world and whatnot. I'm actually based in San Antonio, Texas. So it's 11:30. It's lunchtime-ish for me. San Marcos, hey, what's up? Right up the street. Anyway, and then also, as you inevitably have questions, put those in the Q&A panel, which is also at the bottom of the Zoom. So that way I can see it a little bit better and answer it, and it can like be separated from the open chat. So in the open chat, remember, it's all panelists and attendees. Make sure you switch it to that so that way we can all see what you're saying. And there's quite a few of y'all. Hi. And then also with the Q&A, make sure you put your questions there in the Q&A panel, which is different. And then again, for those of y'all who are still trickling in, at the very top of the chat, I'm gonna go ahead and post it again just so y'all can kind of see it every now and then. At the very top of the chat, there's a Dropbox transfer link that I'm giving y'all. And that is for you to practice syncing sound on your own time after this panel. It's a really simple project. It shouldn't take up too much of your space and we should all be good. So I'm gonna give it like another 2 more minutes and then we'll get going because I kind of have a little bit to cover and we only have an hour. So yeah, it's a bit. Let me see. Oh, South Africa, hello. And then we have people from Arkansas. Awesome, awesome. How am I sounding? I should be sounding pretty good, hopefully, for this talk about audio. I hope I sound pretty good. You sound awesome. Thank you. Awesome. Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. I'm going to post the Dropbox link one more time because I saw that people were like, wait, where is it? So I'm going to post it one more time. Again, you don't need to open this right now during the panel. Just save it to a note on your computer or anything like that, or just like open it up on on a screen or something and minimize it just so you have it for later. And you can practice syncing sound if you've never done that before. It's a super simple project. So yeah, Miami, awesome. Love it there. It's so pretty. Water's amazing. Awesome. Philadelphia, hello. Maryland, I have family in Maryland. Love it there too. Beautiful, beautiful. Los Angeles, always great. Always a delight. Dallas, got a lot of Texas people today. This is cool. Austin, Texas, I see you. Ernesto, welcome. Cool. So I am going to, let's go ahead. I'll kind of go ahead and get started. I think we're pretty good. I think the number's calming down. Yeah, it's kind of calming down. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad I sound good. So quick intro to me if you don't know who I am before we get going. My name is Hallease Narvaez, and I am a video producer, digital storyteller, and also a YouTuber. And I have been on the platform of YouTube posting consistently since 2015, but I've been just on YouTube in general since 2009. I started trying with the intent to grow in 2015. And I went to film school. I did do that whole rigmarole, graduated with a radio, television, and film degree from the University of Texas, Hook 'em Horns, and other such things. And, things are going pretty well. I am endeavoring to persevere, as my mother would say. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're just going to get right into this. It's going to be a good time. And let's see here. Share the screen now. Desktop 2 Awesome. So y'all should all hopefully be seeing my presentation. Give me a yes in the comments, in the chat if you are seeing. Awesome. Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate it. Cool. So here we go. Let's talk audio handles. They don't matter. Here we go. So the breakdown of this session is going to be this. In the first part of this, I'm going to talk about a few just general recording tips. These are things that you should just keep in mind when you're recording audio or when you're trying to up your audio. Even if you don't have amazing gear, you're just using your cameras in-house microphone, or you're using your phone's in-house microphone. These are things you can start to do, whether you have no budget to a bit of budget, to start to just keep your audio top of mind. So that way, when you're going into editing, you're working with the best possible audio that you were able to get with the resources you have. So we're going to go over some of those things. Some of them will maybe be obvious to you, and some of them may not. There might be things you haven't thought about. The second thing we're going to go over is gear recommendations. This is all gear that I have used in the past, so my recommendations will be biased based on gear I've used in the past. There are so many different gear options out there. Do not feel like you have to use what I'm using. There are just so many cost-effective options too. Like, there's just so much out there. So I'm going to give you food for thought on gear, and then post-production. So I'm going to show you a few tools that you can use in Premiere Pro and Audition. For those of you who may not be familiar with Audition, it is Adobe's audio editing software. It has a very similar look and feel to Premiere Pro. So I would say if you're used to Premiere and you feel pretty comfortable in Premiere, Audition can be sort of that next segue for you when you're starting to think a little more critically about your audio. And you start to notice like where Premiere Pro is kind of lacking in a certain way, because Premiere Pro, first and foremost, is a video editing software, whereas Audition, its main focus is audio. So I'm going to show you I'm going to give you a canopy of Audition just to get your interest sparked, if you will. So maybe you can then, look at some of the tutorials that are abound on YouTube, or even within Audition itself, there's a lot of different tutorials you can follow as well. So let's get into this. Again, if you have questions as I go along, put them in the Q&A. Yes, Callie, your question, I am going to answer that. I kind of skimmed it. Yeah, we're going to answer that. So first thing, recording tips. The best thing you want to do when getting good audio is to get good audio from the jump, right? You want to make sure you're recording your audio in the best possible scenario. So that way, when you do get into Premiere Pro or Audition, you can do the most with it, So these are a few things to keep in mind. And then also couple little tips in there. So the first thing is remember to turn your refrigerator off. A lot of people, especially if you're filming at home, which most of us are now, a lot of people forget to turn off their fridge because your fridge is actually really, really loud. Our ears get used to it. We get used to all the ambient sounds in a space and we forget that things are on. You might hear your fridge cut on, and then once it does, you just it becomes part of your walla, your own life background walla. With your camera, with your phone, with whatever microphone you're using, it doesn't have that balancing effect like we do. It's not smart like we are to ignore that sound. So turn off your fridge. The best thing I would say about that, though, is don't lose out on all your food. According to the CDC, you can turn your fridge off for about 4 hours and the food will not go bad. The biggest thing I would say, though, is set a timer on your phone. Most of the time for me, I set a timer for about 2 hours. So for example, my fridge is off right now. I told Google to set a timer for about an hour and a half so I don't forget to turn it back on. Another thing professionally that people will do is they'll put their keys in the fridge. So that way they can't leave. They have to go to the fridge and turn it back on to get their keys. The same thing applies to your air conditioner. Air conditioners are super duper loud. And again, our ears get used to it and balance it out. And so the best thing you can do is just either turn it up or turn it off. A lot of times with a podcast, I'll turn my air conditioner. This is like the funny thing, use it up or down. I'll make it colder in the space for a while and then turn it off because I live in Texas, so it gets hot fast. But I'll do that so that way we're nice and cool as we're recording the podcast. And then once we're done, my timer goes off, I turn it back on. So those are just like some general things to think about. Another thing I would say is think about the space you're in. If you can be recording yourself sitting on a rug or sitting on a very cushioned space, something that's going to keep your sound near you, that really helps a lot. Or something I used to do because I actually lived in a space that was all concrete walls, which I currently do, live in a space that's all concrete. So the sound really just bounces everywhere. Push come to shove, sometimes if it's just voiceover, I'll go into my closet and record whatever voiceover I'm trying to do in a closet, and facing I'll talk facing my clothes. So my clothes are acting as sort of a curtain, if you will, of sound. So that way the sound stays nice and close and I don't get too much echo or anything like that. Again, the point of all of this stuff is to try to get the best quality you can native to whatever device you're using. So that way, when you do want to do things like distort it or amp it up or make it super quiet or make it sound like it's echoing or whatever the thing is, you're working with the best quality that you can given whatever, device you're using. So those are just some general tips to keep in mind whenever you're recording. The next thing is the recording levels. So if you do find yourself starting to dip into using, recording devices and things like that, which we'll go over in the next slide, the dialogue level you generally want to have, especially if you're doing something like a video podcast or, again, voiceover for your YouTube videos or something like that, you want to kind of have your dialogue level in between -12 dB and -15 dB. And you don't need to know what dB stands for. It's irrelevant. But if you look here at this little video I did, this is actually me speaking. I made sure the audio is off on it. But you can see how I'm kind of hitting, you see where I peak around -6. You want to kind of hit somewhere in there. The point being is that you never really want to hit 0. So if you're hitting 0, that means the sound information is officially getting distorted. Your microphone, depending on its quality, may be able to have some wiggle room with that. But for the most part, if you're peaking constantly, you're distorting the sound. And again, you're not quite getting the best possible sound that you could. Oh, yeah. So someone mentioned that they put, it's Nikisha, that they put towels in a suitcase and then set it up so the mic is facing into the suitcase. Yeah. By any means necessary, home studio, I feel it. So yeah, these are sort of general, if you're trying to get a really good voiceover or podcast, try to aim for -12, -15. But as you can see, it's not an exact science. If you're someone, I speak pretty monotonely, so sometimes I will kind of bump it up a bit just to make sure I'm really getting a nice range and I don't have to do too much later to it. It all just depends on how you talk. If you're super animated and your volume fluctuates a lot, then maybe you actually want to be a little bit lower and then you tweak it up in post and you just kind of know that about yourself. But feel free to just try. Try things, all the time. Experiment. It's supposed to be fun. Now let's get into gear. And the first thing I want to say about gear is don't overthink it, even though I know y'all are all probably going to overthink it because I overthink it, That's just the name of the game. But here are some gear options for you to meditate on. So if you're going to go with external recording, and for external recording, what I mean by that is your camera that you're using to either vlog with or create YouTube content with, or maybe you're going to turn these vlogs into video podcasts. For whatever reason, that camera that you're using does not have an audio jack in where you can plug in a microphone to it to have better audio, and you have to rely on the camera's raw internal microphones, which are usually not very good. So if you have to go that route and you need to sync your sound later in post, basically, my first option that I would recommend is the Zoom H1N. It runs around $120. They've had this type of recording device for a while, and this is part of Zoom Sound Lab. They're a really interesting, great company doing a lot of different stuff with sound. And this is sort of their entry-level recording device. It does have an audio jack in, so if you do have a microphone and you want to, even though you do have a microphone with an audio jack, but you want to record separately just because, you can plug it into this and it'll still work. But it also, as you can see, has its own built-in microphones. And I actually used to use this to record my YouTube videos and my voiceover in my YouTube videos in the very beginning, when I finally felt like, when I hit that $100 threshold on YouTube and I was like, ooh, I got budget. This was one of the first things I bought, was this $120-ish microphone. I think the older versions now are even cheaper and they're just as good. So yeah, the other thing about this that's really cool is that it also has the capabilities for you to do some low cut, some high pass, and that's basically things that you can do to sort of, say you do film with the air conditioner on or your fridge is on, you can kind of program this to have those little features in there to kind of cut out some of that sound, and it works pretty well. So this is actually a really great product. I would highly recommend it. I'm not being paid by Zoom, hashtag not spawn, but for the value, for the money, it can really take you a long way. The next step up, and this is actually what I use when I'm podcasting with my husband, is the Zoom H6N. And I use it because it has XLR connectors, which is just the more traditional connector for different types of microphones that you would want to use once you start getting up in budget and things like that. It's got a lot of different preamps built in, mixers built in. Again, all of that stuff is snazzy stuff for how it reads the sound, absorbs the sound, records the sound onto the SD card that you can put into it. And I also really like that it has the different external controls for audio based on each separate microphone that you plug in. So I really love this device. You can use it to record music as well. If you're a YouTuber who's also doing music performances, like you do guitar and singing, you could have one microphone be your audio for your singing voice, and you can have another being near your guitar, and like you can balance each of them live, record, edit your video, and post, sync sound. It's a really great all-around device. So I use this thing often, and I also use it for professional shoots as well. It's just a really good all-around device. And the final thing I'll say about it is it also comes with different capsule tops. So it has this capsule, and then it has like an Omni capsule, which again is just snazzy ways of saying how it picks up the sound. So you can get a shotgun capsule for it, so it's being very, very targeted, like this mic I'm using here. You can have that with it, and then you can have this where it's a little more omnidirectional-esque. You know, it's giving you a little bit of surround, but not too much. You know, you can just you can start to really play with sound with this, and it's just a lot of fun. So these are two options. Again, though, Amazon, you can find pretty decent mics for under $100, and if that's where you're at budget-wise, go for it. You know, anything's going to be better probably than the on-camera microphone. Anything's probably going to be better than that. The next thing I want to talk about is internal recording. So this is when your camera actually does have the capabilities of having an external microphone record audio onto your video as well. And so you don't have to sync sound anymore, which is a delight. Love that. So these are recommendations based on different price points again. And all of these are Rode. I think they're based out of Australia, but again, this is just because I've used their products. It's not an endorsement. So the Rode, this one right here, the smallest one sitting at about $60, is the Rode Video Mic Pro, no, Mic Mini. They all have like different variations of that name. And you can see how small it is. Super tiny. I don't know if y'all can actually see me too. Can you see me too, or just the panel? I think, maybe. We'll see. Yes, cool. Someone said yes. Thank you. Okay, cool. So this one is super tiny. And so as you can see, if you're a vlogger who's on the go a lot and you have, you know, an epic like little point and shoot maybe that has an audio jack, this can be a nice addition, but keeping your run and gun set up nice and tight and run and gun. So I really love this little guy. I've had 3 or 4 of these because I'm really rough on my stuff, so I break them a lot. But these are really cool, super tiny. And the audio, again, is already just going to be better than what you're filming if you're just using your camera's audio that's built in. They also have a variation of this microphone that comes with an attachment that can allow it to go into different types of phones, whether it be like, I think they have one for most iPhones, so you can connect it straight to your iPhone if that's how you vlog. And then they also have, yeah, just different variation connector models of this based on what you want to do. So check this out. It's the Rode Video Mic Mini. That is the name. These two are varying in price depending, and they're really more of an apples and oranges kind of thing. Both of them are great. So this one to the left is the Rode Video Mic Pro, yes, Plus, Pro Plus, yes, the names. Wow, I'm a terrible ambassador. Anyway, this one is the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, and this one's really cool because as you ultimately start to record, again, this one has an internal power that allows it to run. It also has, again, some low pass, high pass frequency things built in. So again, it can be recording into your camera, getting rid of some of that low pass, high pass. This also turns on and off with your camera, which is really neat. Because I am definitely the type of person who used to forget to turn the mic on. Struggle bus for real. And then it also has a dB plus 20 and minus 10, which basically means like if you know you're in an environment and you're recording and you can tell the person's just talking really low, you can hit plus dB and just go ahead and build in some volume. And then likewise, if you know you're filming in a loud place or something like that, you can go ahead and go negative and turn it down a little bit. So that's really cool. So if someone's asking about low pass and high pass, all that basically means, there's different variations of it, but it's about getting rid of some of the lower frequencies or higher frequencies. So for example, your air conditioner, again, or your fridge, or even like, say, like right now I have a fan on and there's technically noise that's coming from it, but the frequency of it's probably pretty high-ish. So you can turn on these sort of built-in presets, if you will, that get rid of, just kind of remove some of that audio native to the recording. So that way you don't have to do it in post as much. And so that's what I mean when I say low pass and high pass. And then the last microphone is actually the one I'm using to talk to y'all right now. This is the Rode Video NTG. And I really like this one for a few reasons. One, it can plug in directly to your computer and run as a microphone that way without needing any extra extensions. It has a USB-C port. And it's really great. I usually use this a lot actually to now do voiceovers for my videos. It also, again, as you can see, it has the audio jack, so it can plug directly into your camera. If your camera is capable of taking a microphone this way, it can do that as well. Another thing I really like about this is that you can adjust, similar to the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, high pass, low pass, you can do things like that. This one also has the capabilities, and I'll see if I can show you. So this one also has the capability to switch to have one track be negative 10 dB, so a little bit quieter. It's still recording everything the same, but it'll have one track set to whatever you want it to be, and then on the other side, it'll have it be just a little bit quieter. So if you're not quite sure, you know, if you're vlogging on the go and you're like, it's kind of loud in here, I don't know if it's too loud, I'm not quite sure, you can flip that on, and then in post, you can actually see which one is actually the better one to go with if you're just super nervous about potentially peaking and distorting your sound. So I really love that about this microphone. Again, it turns on and off with your camera. Hopefully, as Joel said, I sound pretty good on it. D80, I think, was actually another company that made a variation very similar to this. I actually think they made it first, to be honest. But it's a really awesome mic. The final thing I will say too is that you can also up the volume. I'm going to sound super loud and distorted in a second, but you can up the volume built in just with this dial on the mic itself. I probably sound hella loud. Let me turn that back down. Or you can on the fly turn it all the way down, and you probably maybe can't hear me at all right now. Who knows? But I really love that. Again, right on the spot, you don't have to go into your camera's settings to adjust the volume. You can just on the spot kind of know like, let me tweak this down just a little bit. Oh, okay, my computer's probably overcompensating for it then. But yeah, I could blow myself out on this microphone. It does have a little dial where you can turn the volume up and down, which is really cool when you're filming. So again, you don't have to use any of these. There are so many amazing quote unquote knockoffs on Amazon. Yes, they will probably be built out of like 98% plastic or whatever, but if that's where you're at, then that's where you're at. Go for it, you know? Don't be afraid to try new stuff and, you know, make little step investments. Don't be afraid to do that. If anyone has any other questions, make sure you're putting them in the Q&A. I want to look at Callie's question real quick before we start getting into Premiere, just to make sure I actually answered what she truly asked. Let me see. What would you say is a safe level for audio in Premiere Pro? I always make sure that it's not yeah, but I get various volumes from one video to the next. You sometimes have to just change. Yes. Yes. I would say that as long as you're not peaking, you're probably good. But at the same time, it is kind of like, it really just depends on what your end goal is, you know? So if the end goal is, yeah, it's a feature film and you need 5.1 Adobe, you know, Adobe sound and all this crazy stuff, then yeah, there's like such serious specifications around that. Whereas for a YouTube video, one of the major things that I do just to make sure it sounds good is that I'll export the whole thing and then play it on my phone and just hear like, what is the general experience of listening to this on my phone? What is the general experience of listening to this on a laptop? What is the general experience if I, you know, cast it to my TV? You know, do I feel like it's too loud? You know, so much of it is kind of, aside from knowing just general DB notes and things like that, so much of it is just, how do you feel? And is it doing what you want it to do? Okay. So in here, I want to just kind of show y'all, I'm assuming most of y'all are relatively familiar with Premiere, but this is a plant tutorial. Y'all are seeing this, right? Y'all seeing Premiere? Let me make sure. Yes. Okay. Everyone's saying yes. Cool. All right, cool. Just making sure. So this is a project that this video already went up a couple months ago. And as you can see, I've finished it. It's a video talking about different plant failures that I have. I'm currently going through a plant video kick. And I want to make sure that y'all just kind of know about some things that Premiere can do. So when it comes to audio. So as you know, you can do like basic audio things like creating keyframes. All of this bottom track is my music. So creating keyframes and kind of doing some basic edits to mess with volume, things like that. And then also on this side, there's the essential sound panel too. I'm gonna go ahead and like clear this off just so we can play around with it. So, ooh, that's so loud. So here's a song. I'm scared I'm gonna blow y'all out. Let me turn this down. Oh, you probably can't hear it though, huh? That's okay. That's because it's muted, Hallease. That's why. Get it together, girl. All right. So here's a song. And you see, so you saw there how it was just peaking, like crazy epic peaking. The way I usually get rid of that, one of my favorite presets in Premiere Pro is to highlight something as music and then immediately just go to the balanced background music preset. And it just immediately drops it down based on semi-understanding what's happening in the project. And so now it's way better. It's at a more realistic volume. And then when I start talking, you see that I sort of created that keyframe to drop it just a little bit more. I really enjoy just throwing that onto songs as I'm working through Premiere because it's just easily like I can get back into editing. I can get back into the art a little bit. Oh, there's a question. Sorry. Here we go, here we go. Oh, how are you able to color code the files while editing Premiere? Yeah, that's super easy. So there's a few ways you can do that. One is you can just right click, label, and just pick a color. You know, there's tan for that one. I think I had it on green. I want to put it back to where it was because this will make sense later. But yeah, you just do that, super easy. The other thing you can do is with the actual footage itself, you can change its color. So that way, let's change it to purple. So that way, you know, whatever you end up picking in here and putting on the timeline will now be purple. And there you go, super easy and really helpful when it comes to organization. So yeah. But that's one of my favorite, this essential sound, that's one of my favorite things in there is the balanced background music feature. The other thing I would say to do though, so that way you can have more access to different things, is make sure you actually label what the different types of audio in Premiere Pro is. So all of this audio up top is my dialogue, and I'm gonna go ahead and label it as dialogue. So that way, whenever I'm making adjustments to the music, it can now adjust based on knowing what is the actual priority of what people should be hearing. So when I go to adjust the music and do things like duck it against different things, then it'll know that, okay, all of this stuff is dialogue. We want to make sure that the dialogue is heard above the music and things like that. So play around with the essential sound panel. You can do so much with it. Something else you can do is you can make your dialogue sound all sorts of crazy. So you can do things like make yourself sound like you're in, let's see, I want to do one that's kind of fun. Over an intercom. Let's try that out. Let's see. And it's this stuff like you never know what you're going to randomly need to do in a video to like tell a story, or maybe it's a sketch or a skit you're working on, something like that. So now I sound like I'm over some kind of intercom just because. And you can hear the difference hopefully in the two, which is really cool. So play around with the essential sound panel. It's really neat. There's just so many different things you can do in there, and you can begin to mess around with loudness, repair, like just, it's super fun. The more you get into it, it's super fun. But inevitably, again, Premiere Pro is first and foremost a video film creative situation. It's not necessarily made to do a lot of things in audio. It's just supposed to kind of like get you there, assuming that you're going to work with an audio engineer or something like that. So now I want to open up Audition. Now, if you've never, I don't know if how familiar y'all are with Audition, but again, I just want to keep this super canopy for y'all. There's so many tutorials out there. There's so much you can try. Don't be afraid to just like explore and play around. Oh, I'm so sorry. Before we get into Audition, one more thing. I am supposed to be teaching you how to sync sound. I almost forgot. I'm so sorry, y'all. So yeah, let me open this project for y'all real quick. Okay, so the project that I gave y'all at the top of the class is a Dropbox transfer link to a variation of this project, super simple project. And I wanna show y'all just how you can sync sound manually or by using Premiere Pro's features. So I've created a timeline called Sync, and then I've also included some raw footage from one of my husband and I's video podcasts. So this is the camera footage, and you're gonna hear how you can't really hear us at all because the camera's super far away, so that way we can both be in frame and it can be nice, but I'm kind of talking all through the basics. And we're being silly. So there I clapped, so that way it would be easier to sync the sound manually. So something else I included are 2 clips from my Zoom H6n, which I talked about. So the first one is my audio clip. And let me go ahead and mute this so you can hear me. So that's mine. And then my husband, who I call Mr. Hallease for funsies, there's his. So there's his. So I think it's good to learn how to sync sound manually, just in case. I think it's just a good skill to just kind of have. And the best thing you can do for this is just make sure you sync to the actual waveforms, not the video. So you can see the clap. That's what we're looking for. So let me zoom this in so y'all can see really well. But you see right here, and then let me mute these. This is where, and you can see me in the video, this is where I clapped, right? And so the thing you want to try to do is sync up the audio claps with the video clap, and then you'll have synced sound. So what I usually do is I get around to where the clap is in the audio. I zoom in quite a bit and try to get really close to it. And then what I do is I hold down Shift and I hit Command K, which cuts it. And you can see it didn't cut everything. It just cut the things that I had highlighted. And that was Command K. I guess it'd be Control K on a PC. Sorry in advance if I'm wrong, but K is what you need. And then I'm just gonna delete those because they're irrelevant to me. And then I'm going to try, and the next thing I'm gonna do is zoom in again, which you just hit the plus key on your keyboard to do that. Go about to where it is. Highlight. If you have snapping on, that'll help. And it looks like I'm a smidge off, but it's like a frame. So to your eye and ear, it may not matter, but let's go ahead and do like one more. And let's go, let's just try this. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It might not matter. Let's see. And then let's mute this one so we can actually just watch me and see how this goes. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the basics of how to sync sound manually. As you can see though, you can get hella exact about it. It can be a lot. It can be a lot. And then especially if you're doing things, if you're filming something where it is about like rustling of things and whispers of stuff, that can get like, ugh. And that's why you see in traditional film, you see everyone hit that clapper because it's a nice distinct chop of a sound. But clapping, just doing one little quick is probably enough for most things that you want to do. So that's how you sync sound manually. I think that's just a good thing to know how to do in general. But Premiere does make it easier for you, so you don't have to do it by hand. So let me like scoot this over so Premiere doesn't cheat, right? So what you can do is, if you have a good idea of which audio clips go with which video clip, put them into a timeline like this and kind of line them up more or less together. And what you can do is highlight it all and then right click and go to synchronize. And you want it to go by the audio track. And then you just literally hit OK. And boom, Premiere does it for you. And now you can start to edit your video podcast. If you are doing what we're doing, recording to some type of external advice, just make sure to clap every time. You can go. Another thing I will say is like, to keep in mind with this, something that we'll do a lot when we're recording is we'll let the audio go, but we'll let the audio go, but my camera, for example, can only film for up to 30 minutes at a time. So if you know you're going to use the Premiere synchronize feature or function, stop your audio too when you stop your camera, because it can't, as to my knowledge, I see Duran is in here, so he might be able to answer this. But to my knowledge, synchronize cannot sync multiple audio clips that are connected to like to a single video clip and vice versa. It needs to be like one video clip with however many different types of audio at the bottom. But if you're someone who just lets the audio roll and then just keeps hitting start and stop on your camera, that's like the one random little tweak. So start and stop every time, give it a good clap every time, and you'll be able to save yourself a lot of time in post. Let me hit up a question because I see people are asking things. Is this presentation going to be included in the Dropbox link? No. They will provide that, I think, after, because they have to record. And the Dropbox is like my business's Dropbox. It's not Adobe's. In case y'all don't know, though, here it is. One more time, Dropbox link for everybody. And this is basically the project I've built for you to test out doing syncing sound manually or doing it through the synchronize feature. And then I see someone else has asked a question. My in-studio podcast, no video, includes 3 local hosts and 1 remote host in Florida. Ooh, what is the best approach to capture the audio for the remote host on their own track for editing, mixing with the other multi-tracks recorded on site? Okay, yeah, so this is something I've played around with a little bit when I have people that like I've had to help out on podcasts before. And the best advice I can give on that is do something like this, like a Zoom situation or some way where you can all be live and the quality of just y'all being live together for syncing is just for syncing purposes. So you can kind of understand where you're all at in timing, but have them record themselves on their own microphone as well. And y'all are recording on your microphones and then bring it in and sync it that way. So that way it feels more natural. And I find that even if it's just a podcast that I'm working on but people are in multiple locations, I find it's really good to just hop on a Zoom call or something like this and record it this way too. So that way I can understand the natural breaks, the natural intonations, how people were looking, feeling, if someone was actually sitting there thinking, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I think that'll help. So basically it's a combination of the two. That seems to really work well. So hopefully that helps. You can. So yeah, that's another thing too. Diamond's mentioning, so you can use an external mic on a Zoom call. Yeah, I mean, you could do that as well. And then you just take the download of the Zoom call. The question there becomes, I don't know how Zoom works. I don't know if it's recording at the best quality, if the mic, or you know what I mean? If it'd be worth it to just have that person record separately and send you their audio file that they've recorded onto whatever device. That's something else to think about too. But yeah, technically we're recording this Zoom call and y'all are hearing me through hopefully a decent sounding microphone that I could potentially use in a podcast. Again, the big thing to remember is don't sweat production value. At the end of the day, it really is about a good story. I myself watch YouTube videos where production value is, but I'm really engaged in what they're doing and the story they're trying to tell. And so I excuse it, don't let the gear be the thing that stops you from trying. That's always something I preach to people. The sooner you start trying, the sooner you start learning how to be better. Yeah, Jasmine, so you're against continuous filming. It's best to start and stop. If you're wanting to use the Premiere Synchronize feature, yeah, you're going to want to start and stop a couple times or each time. So that way it's easier to line up which audio tracks go with which video track. And you can synchronize each of them one at a time because you can't technically, I believe in Premiere, and I think Darren said that I was right, but you can't technically have one long audio track with multiple video tracks that you need to sync to it. That just doesn't work with the synchronize feature in Premiere. It works best when you have one video track for audio tracks. So keep that in mind. There are other third-party options you can use where even then you don't have to do all that, but they cost money. And so I'm always big on saving money. I'd rather you use the features built into Premiere that don't cost you any extra money because you already have the software. So yeah. Callie also mentioned in here that I always have to remember to clap again when I start and stop. Don't forget, you can always do an end clap too. So maybe at the very end of a section, you didn't clap at the beginning. That's fine. Before you hit stop and everything, clap at the end. Like it doesn't really matter where the clap goes. You just need to, it's easier to find it at the beginning or find it at the end. You don't want to try to clap in the center because then you're like, wait, you're looking through it like, wait, where's the clap at? So You can do an in clap too. All right, so that was the last thing I wanted to show you in Premiere. I almost forgot. Sorry, y'all. So now I want to get into some of the audition things. And if you've never opened up Audition before, I went ahead and pre-opened this project so that way it moves smoothly because we're almost out of time. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is Audition. And as you can see, Audition, and of course, are you going to crash on me? I had it like open for so long because I wanted to make sure I was prepped. Okay, cool. This is Audition. And as you can see, it has a very similar look and feel to Premiere Pro. And you can see my entire project, even with the color coding that I had in Premiere Pro, is now in here. And you can see I have my reference video here. So I don't see any of my video tracks at the top. I just see all of the audio tracks because, again, Audition's all about audio. But I really love this because basically once you have picture lock, which picture lock is just a snazzy word for you're not changing anything else visually that's happening in the video, and you're ready to start doing audio tweaks, color correction, things like that, you can now come into Audition and have fun and play. And you can see the essential sound panel is here in Audition as well. So if you also, if you just actually want to wait until you get into Audition before you start doing anything audio related, then that's cool too. But you can see now, I'm just gonna like play this for a second. Hello. Hi, play. Are you gonna be mad because I took too long to do anything with you, sir? Let's see. Wake up. That's so hilarious. Being punished for being prepared. But as you can see, it's letting me scrub through, but it's not playing. But as you can see, it's doing everything and running the same way. And the way you do this is that you don't have to save your Premiere Pro project in any kind of weird way or do anything crazy. You just have to open Audition and literally just open the Premiere Pro project. And it'll open right up and open up all of these things together. Now, one feature in Audition that I really wanted to show y'all that I think is really cool is the remix feature. So as y'all probably saw here, all of the music that I have in here, it's like kind of, I haven't edited it to kind of match up completely to where I want it to go. So for this first song, I wanted to actually go all the way to here, but I just dropped it there so I could show you the remix feature. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I wanted to show you this remix feature because this is actually a really cool feature that I'm using a lot now in most of my videos because I really like to have songs edited to a certain point. So what you're gonna do with this, remix will actually take a song and stretch it out or shorten it so that way the song still like works completely with the piece and you don't have to sit there as the editor to try to cut it together where you feel like it'll work exactly or it transitions the right time, cut things to the beat, that sort of thing. You don't have to do that. The AI just does it amazingly and you're like, what? This is crazy. Life is wild. Wow. So the way you do that is you highlight the piece that you want. And I would say before you even turn on remix, create an in and out of how long or short you want the song to be so you can know, because I'm not going to know off the top of my head. So I created an in and out because I want it to end right about there. And I'm going to look down here at the bottom. The duration is 2 minutes, 58 seconds, roughly. And then I'm going to clear the in and out. I always forget which one it's G on here. Okay. Clear the in and out. Make sure the song is highlighted. And then I'm going to come over to Enable Remix. I might need to like shut Audition down and open it back up because I just left it open too long and it's mad now. It's like you didn't do anything with me for so long and now you're doing stuff with me. Why? Yeah, let me do that. While I'm doing that, let me answer some questions because I can tell he's upset. Would you say industry standards video settings, video editing is a standard for video editing is a MacBook? I've considered a solid PC, but I'm wondering if that will make it difficult to collaborate as I outsource some projects to editing and video audio. I mean, Macs have like become the go-to, but it really doesn't matter. I've collaborated with PC users as well. And the beautiful thing about Premiere and Adobe in general is that it's not based on a specific system. So as long as y'all are able to share source files, you know, it doesn't really matter. I can totally understand why some people just lean more towards PC versus Mac. It really is, again, that's like a preference and budget thing, really. All right. So actually, I'll get to show you walking through opening it. So you can see this is the Premiere Pro project. I'd already had it open, so I'm just going to open it again. But you don't need to create any kind of new session with it or anything. You just literally open your Premiere Pro project in Adobe, and it creates this in Audition, and it creates this multi-track session. And so you can see it's starting to pull everything in and figure it out. It even has the in and out that I originally had for the project, which is really cool. And so it's loaded everything. Let me clear the in and out so we don't have that weird color. There we go. And then it even muted the music because I had it muted in Premiere. So yeah. And now we hear everything. Thank you. I'm sorry, Audition. I'm sorry. All right. So there's the music and everything. And then it's going to start playing the video in sync with it all. So again, I figured out, what was it? It was 2 minutes, 58 seconds, I think. That was our duration. We're going to go over to the properties, and I'm going to enable remix, and it's immediately going to start analyzing the song. So it can figure out what would be the best way to either trim it, make it longer, anything like that. And now that it's done analyzing it, you can see the target duration is just what the song's duration is currently. I have figured out that I want the song to be roughly 2 minutes and 58 seconds. I'm going to hit enter, and it is going to now re-edit that song to be that length. Now, because I had already been doing things in Premiere, making little audio tweaks and edits, you can see it kind of added some stuff in there. That's more my bad for just having extra stuff in there that I should have done in Audition anyway. But these little zigzags is actually where it has figured out how to continue the song. And I just really love this feature because I know for YouTubers specifically, a lot of us really want to do talking head stuff, talk to camera, and you do want to have like sort of a light, moody tone under you sometimes, depending on what your vibe is. But you usually either sort of messily copy paste the song over and over again, and people can kind of hear in the background like, yeah, the song ended and you repeated it. I just think this feature is so helpful for just like maintaining the suspended belief of just being in the moment and watching your video. And it's these types of little touches that add that production value that people talk about. And so the same thing with this one. I'm going to put an in and out here, roughly where it starts, and this is the end of the video where it ends, so I can know how long I need to make it. Again, about 3 minutes and 58 seconds, more or less. Cool. I'm gonna clear it away and then make sure it's highlighted, enable remix. It's gonna start analyzing the clip, and it's going pretty quick. So yeah, this is cool. Analyze, analyze. Analyze, analyze, analyze. There it goes. Okay. And then we're going to change this to, what did I say, 358? I'm saying that like it won't take y'all long to answer. I think I said 358. Boom. And it's there. And that's like so much time saved. I know for me personally, when I learned about this, I was like, game changer. Wow. So I love this. Now, let's say we're ready to export. We've done some crazy things. We've added distortions to some of my dialogue. We've done this, we've done that, all the stuff. How are we gonna now export, right? So the easiest thing to do is to export to Adobe Premiere Pro. Again, we used a Premiere Pro project to open this. So it knows that. And all we're gonna do now is save it wherever we wanna save it. And we're gonna have it export each track as a stem. And stems are just a snazzy way of saying, here's everything you originally had. Each track will now be its own separate condensed audio track. That's all a stem is, a snazzy way to say that. And we're gonna hit export and blah, blah, blah already exists. Yes, because I was practicing this later to make sure it worked. We're gonna go ahead and overwrite it, yes. And so it's gonna start exporting the stems and there it goes, yeah. And then it now opens the Premiere Pro project, or you should have it open still, opens the Premiere Pro project and asks, okay, hey, where do you want to put these stems? I don't want it to override what I already have, because in case I do, my picture lock does move now, right? And I have to do a few more tweaks. I don't want it to override the audio that was already there. So I'm gonna tell it to just make a new audio track. I'm gonna hit okay. And then what it'll now do, of course it did, oh, it's because I did this earlier. But what it usually does is it takes all of your stems and literally drops them down below. Unless it, oh, no, it did. It just dropped them 3 more because I had more audio tracks open. So what it did is it dropped all of my audio tracks, my stems, down below. And now what I can do is just mute my original stuff. Because again, you never know, your picture lock may change. And everything I've done in Audition is now here in the project. And I can now export and do my final thing and check how it sounds on my phone, check how it sounds on a computer, check how it sounds on the TV, upload, new content out, huzzah. So I think that's really cool. I use this feature now a lot in Audition. If I want to do more epic things with my audio, that and specifically the remix feature, I use the remix feature a lot now. The final thing I want to show y'all in Audition is, say you don't, maybe your project is actually like crazy epic. Like you have a crazy epic Premiere situation and you're running on a 2016 MacBook Pro. And so it's just like, whoa, this is too much. This is too much processing power. You need to calm it down a bit. In Premiere, you can jump to Audition just with a single track or just with a single clip that you want to do something to. So I'm going to choose, let's mute this. Shout out to 2016 MacBook Pros. Yeah, shout out indeed. Okay, so there's a clap. That's good. Let's play around with that. So I'm just going to take this single clip into Audition. And it's really easy to do that. Just literally right click. And then I always forget where it is. Yes, edit clip in Adobe Audition. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a copy of that clip. So you're never actually working from your source clip. So you don't ever have to worry about messing up your original audio. Say if you mess up on something, you're good. You are working now with a copy of that clip in Audition, and it just opens it up right away. Now, this is a feature that I want to show y'all in Audition that you can really play around with too. So you heard that I clapped, right? There's the clap right there. And you can see, I always forget what this view is called. It's like spectral, like seeing sounds view. But there's the waveform view, and then there's this amazing like seeing sounds view below. And they pulled, or actually I can't remember who did what. If, I don't know if Photoshop pulled this tool from Audition, or if Audition pulled this tool from Photoshop. But there's a spot healing brush tool in Adobe Audition. So I'm gonna click on it, and I'm gonna make it like a smidge bigger. You can adjust the pixels. And I'm gonna get rid of this. There it is, Darren hit me up with it. Spectral frequency view, love it. So I'm going to try and delete that clap. And I'm just literally gonna paint and see if I can delete the clap, okay? So literally scroll, let's see, just do that. Let's see what happens. Now it has deleted it out of the spectral frequency view, and it's more or less pretty much gone in the waveforms. And so let's like play it and see. And you know, we all got time to kill, am I right? It's more or less gone. I hear like y'all might not be able to hear, but I hear a smidge of an echo in there. just because if I wanted to get crazy about it, I could probably mess around with this right in here somehow, but you don't want to be too crazy about it, right? Now, what I'm going to do, let's see if it'll do it right for me, because again, I was practicing earlier, and so it might be like, we're overwriting too many things. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quit Adobe. And I'm going to say yes to all. Just go ahead and save everything. Yeah, that's the stuff I did earlier. Sure, save it somewhere. And it pops me back into Premiere. And did you just see what happened? It has now replaced that clip that I was playing around in Audition. It has replaced it with my extracted clip that it copied. And let's see if we can. And we all got time to kill. Am I right? Where'd it go? Oh wait, do I have the things on? I do. Turn off all my stems. Silly me. Here we go. And our clap is gone. So this is something you can do. This is something you can do when you need to edit, like just make tweaks into specific clips. Maybe you're doing your podcast and right at a certain moment, your dog decides to drink a lot of water, which mine loves to do, and slurps, slurps, slurps in the background and does this whole thing. Or your dog passes gas. I have an old dog, so a lot of my audio problems are around my dog, but you know, you get the point. You can kind of isolate the clip and then jump into Audition, do some stuff, hop back out. So again, we've pretty much run out of time, sorry y'all. But this is just a few things that I just wanted to show y'all around using this to get your just wheels flowing and to get you to experiment. I think we have, Emily will let me know if I'm wrong, but I think we have a little bit of time for like maybe a couple more questions. I'll go back through. I also know that there's a survey that we need y'all to take, please, if possible. And that's gonna be popped up here in a second. Please open that and save it somewhere so you can take the survey. This really helps Adobe out a lot as they continue to do things. But if anyone has any questions, again, I'm gonna try to answer them relatively quickly. I also kind of need to hop off in a little bit too, but I'll try to stay until about 12, maybe 45. Let's do 45. And let me not talk. Okay, so let's get into this. So in light of salvaging filming done prior to this webinar, could I edit vid and audio separately to stitch the video clips and cut the one long audio, then once edited, sync the video and audio? Worth a try. I've never tried, but that's worth a try. I'm assuming you're talking about the synchronize feature in Premiere. Yeah, I think you could potentially, if you wanted to, try to like just separate the audio clips themselves or create like little mini clips. But again, that's like more work than you want, right? If you can just stop while you're doing it live. But if you forget, you know, there's always a workaround. You're right. You're not wrong. Let me see. I answered that one already. Where are we? Oh, so on Remix, it automatically elongates or shortens the song. Is there anything that helps matching the music high beats to video cutting to have great audio match cuts? I don't think we're there yet. AI is coming a long way, like so long of a way, crazy. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I think you still have to do that by hand, but that's fun. Editing things to music, to me, is fun. So I always wanted to be a music video producer for a little while, but then I gave up on that dream. Should probably get back into it. That's neither here nor there. Next question. Could you save a lot post-production time by recording into a mix board? Yeah, it's just that mix boards can get kind of pricey. I would say, coming from my own personal experience with YouTube, money savings is the big thing, because for me, for the longest time, creating content was the side thing. I didn't really have the expendable income to play around with a whole mix board setup, but there are mix boards. Rode has a mix board setup straight up that you can use, and yeah, works great. Will the webinar be available for rewatching? Yes. Generally speaking, after it, once they edit it down and everything, they send it out to you based on the emails you used to sign into the webinar. So generally, if there's no technical difficulties, yes. Best online resources for learning more about audio engineering and music production. So I mean, here's the thing. YouTube is such an amazing platform to teach stuff. Yeah, you kind of have to sort through videos that aren't, or tutorials that maybe aren't so great and things like that. But if you're trying to do the no cost thing, as y'all can see, the theme of the day, no cost, YouTube's good. Another thing I would say is I have a subscription to Skillshare, and I use it pretty regularly. They have audio classes on there. The other thing I would say is just looking up different like instructors as well, whether they have Thinkific classes, things like that. Online learning has blown up, as I'm sure y'all probably know, this year because of COVID and everybody being remote. So there's a lot of stuff. And again, within Audition, if you open it from scratch, all the tutorials Audition has pop up as well. So you can make headway with just an internet connection if you are good about your Googles, you know? How are you able to color code? Oh, I did that. Yes, I showed y'all how to do that. Right click, label, pick whatever color you want. Oh, where can I go to watch more of your stuff to help on editing? I loved this little workshop. Oh, live workshop. Thank you. I actually have a class on Skillshare, and I have a basics to Premiere Pro class on Skillshare. So if you've never worked in Premiere Pro, you've never opened it, this is the first time you're seeing any of this, I literally show you step by step how to open it, save your first project, bring in your media, and I use a plant video to walk you through that, and I provide the footage for you to download. So it's on Skillshare, and then I also have it through Thinkific as well. If you go to any of my videos on YouTube, in the description box, you'll see the link to it. So yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I'm actually working on a second class, so thank you. I appreciate that. Warm and fuzzies. More about, okay, answered that. Are there any other questions? I know we hopefully got the survey. I want to make sure y'all get the survey. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so don't forget to fill out the survey. It's really important. It helps Adobe out a lot with these so they can continue to make these possible and make sure they're not wasting your time with the things as well. This pretty much wraps it up. If there are no more to another is the available. Oh, I didn't hear the answer. Yes, we should hopefully have it available to watch later, and they will send you the link once it's edited down and all that kind of stuff via the email that you used to sign up for this webinar. You should get the replay there. Emily hasn't said anything, so I think I said that right. But yes, there should be a replay. But yeah, I want to go ahead and not keep y'all too long. I know it's only supposed to last about an hour. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. I hope I just got your creativity juices flowing when it comes to Premiere Pro and Audition and how to like use some of these tools, you know. Remember, the tool is just a vessel for creative expression. So, you know, don't feel too overwhelmed by it or anything like that. It's just a tool to help you tell the story you want to tell. And with that, we'll go ahead and call it a wrap. Again, thank you so much for coming. Please take the survey. Let me do a Dropbox one more time. If you want to learn how to sync sound by hand, right there. And yeah, bye guys. Have a good day, night, wherever you are in the world.